Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I am your host, Ty Christensen, and I am joined by none other than Jordan Christensen. Heil Hitler, Jordan.
Heil Hitler, Ty.
And we're joined by Cameron Mickle. Heil Hitler, Cameron.
Heil Hitler, Ty.
And newcomer guest, Elijah Price. Elijah, Heil Hitler.
Heil Hitler.
Oh, maybe we should make a caveat. We're reviewing the movie Jojo Rabbit. This is not a
Nazi regime.
nor is it a white supremacist podcast. I might believe this. Someone just tunes into the podcast for the first time. They're just like, wait, someone recommended this podcast to me, and they're like, oh, whoa.
First 30 seconds. Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler.
They've never seen Jojo Rabbit.
So to give some context, we are reviewing a very special movie, Jojo Rabbit, written and directed by Taika Waititi.
Heck yeah.
Oh, my boy.
He's back because we did Hunt for the Wilder People, so it's fun to be reviewing another movie. This came out in 2019, and it stars Roman Griffin Davis, Thomasin McKenzie, Scarlett Johansson, Rebel Wilson.
It's a crazy cast.
Sam Rockwell.
Oh, I love Sam.
Archie Yates. Yorkie, he's my favorite.
At your service.
We're going to go around, say what it was like watching this movie for the first time, and then what was it like rewatching it for this podcast. Let's start with you, Cameron.
I think Jordan was the one who recommended it to me, and he was like, just watch it. It's like a Nazi movie, and I was really caught off guard because it's like really dramatic, but then at the same time, like had just great comedy, perfect combo. And then rewatching it for the podcast, it's actually the third time I've watched it. I was talking a little bit about this with Elijah and Jordan, that it was frustrating watching it again because I was like trying to find something wrong with it. It just amazed me just watching it again. Just watching it for the third time, I was just catching a lot more like undertones and symbolism as well.
Jordan.
Well, Ty, where do I begin?
But the first time you saw it?
First time I saw it in the theater. It was such a fun experience, especially living in like Mormonville, where it's just like all these people love good, clean humor. The theater was packed with people, and they were laughing hysterically. Like some of the jokes, I'm like, okay, like I don't know if it was that funny. Like, calm down. But the people were laughing so hard. Like I thought some people are gonna like have a heart attack and keel over. I loved it. It was such a treat. And then revisiting it for this podcast, my only query about this is, for some reason, I don't know, I found myself fast forwarding every time Scarlett Johansson got on. I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that.
Even when you saw her shoes, you're like, okay, skip.
Oh, man.
I mean, I don't know, I kind of, yeah.
That made no sense. That wasn't English.
I just seen it with a bunch of people from my church. Then I watched it just again for this podcast, and so I just want a little bit of time in between, and so I just kind of felt like an overload.
That's reasonable.
No, I'll be honest. Sometimes when I watch a movie too close to the time I've seen it before, I'm looking for way too many technical things. I used to not notice those things, but I'm like, look where the light's coming from. Look at, where the staging is. Look what's in focus and out of focus. Imagine where the camera is and what the set design. I watched the first time as soon as it was available on streaming. I really liked the sincerity. It's a very sweet movie, which is surprising. Jojo Rabbit is literally about a child that is wrapped up in joining Nazi-occupied Germany. He wants to be a Nazi. He's training for it. This is like his dream, and his figment of his imagination, his best imaginary friend is actually Hitler. Which is surprising that it's such a charming and sweet movie because it's the wonderful nuances of Taika Waititi's brand of humor. It's like a hate satire. Taika Waititi said in an interview, he goes, I don't think it's good that we forget about these things. It kind of reminds me of what Quentin Tarantino said about Inglourious. He says, we need to keep showing films like this to remind ourselves who the real villain is. Talking about Nazism, right? And fascism and Hitler. Because movies can hold history accountable. Taika Waititi believes that too. He goes, if you stop telling these stories, we're going to just forget too quickly. And it's really interesting that he's saying that. I mean, he's a director that's looking ahead to the future, and he's making movies that are not only prevalent now, even though, this took place many, many years back. Yeah, I'm not a history major, so I don't even know when. It's surprising that he's making a movie that's still so poignant, even though it took place back in World War II. I loved it on second viewing. I was looking for things that were foreshadowing Scarlett Johansson's shoes. Man, they make a lot of appearances, and it's very subtle. It's not something you're looking forward to when you watch it a second time, because I was dreading it. Elijah. Am I saying that right? Is it Elijah or Elisha?
Either way.
Elisha.
Whatever floats your boat,
Well, Elijah.
That's definitely not it.
So the first time I actually told Cameron this, it's more of a joke, but we joke that my parents are huge fans of the Holocaust. They, I am Jewish, and they've seen tons and tons of speakers, and they go to all the Holocaust movies and showings and stuff like that with Holocaust survivors. And so I had this really weird and almost eerie feeling going into the movie the first time of like, this is a movie making fun of the Holocaust. And then upon seeing it, I've probably seen it 7 or 8 times now. I saw it 5 times in theaters. But seeing it for the second and third and fourth time, I never really recognize like the deeper meaning of like, it's not just about this story of a kid who loves Hitler and how brainwashed these kids were in that time, but you realize it's more of a story of love and what this mom is willing to do to protect her son and separate these two worlds to keep everybody safe because she's trying to do what she can.
Wonderful takeaways.
That's awesome.
We're going to go around real quick and say 2 of our favorite things about this film. I really love the style of this movie. I think Taika Waititi has a style very similar to Wes Anderson, but not to bash on Wes Anderson because Fantastic Mr. Fox and Isle of Dogs is probably some of my favorite movies. But that being said, sometimes he's a little too much style over substance. Like, I'm sorry, I don't get Grand Budapest Hotel and I don't get The Life Aquatic. I'm sorry, dumb movies.
No.
I like some of the nuances. I love his characters, but to me, you can still have incredible characters and you don't have to sacrifice it over OCD stylized framing and everything. Jojo Rabbit is very appealing to look at. This is talking about a very dark period of history, but it's still very pleasant to watch. And what I really liked about it is how pleasant that summer camp, that Nazi summer camp looked. You had like Rebel Wilson saying like, hey, this is all fun. And Sam Rockwell's like an action hero, right? He's pointing the gun. He's like, hey, look at me. And it looks like something like Boy Scouts. You can understand why people were indoctrinated at a young age and they were lying to people, right? They were brainwashing them into enlisting into this fascistic regime. And I think that's so amazing. Taika Waititi did a good job at showing how it is on Earth that someone could even follow along with this, right? And when you have everyone that's peer pressuring you and everyone around you is believing this ideology, you don't want to be the odd one out. You don't want to speak up and say, hey, do you think we're working for the bad guys? But no one wants to say that. So I think that Taika Waititi did a really good job at the way that this was shot, because this is a very dark subject matter in material, but it's really told from the eyes of Jojo. This movie hits my funny bone. The jokes that are laid out, the interactions, Taika Waititi, in an interview they asked him, like, the only reason they greenlit the movie is, Fox Searchlight said, only if you play as Hitler. Put your life and career on the line. My only thinking is, listen, Taika, this is your dream movie. You made Thor Ragnarok, made millions. You're a hot director. What's your passion project? And he's like, I want to do a young boy. His best imaginary friend is Hitler. And they're like, whoa, stop. Like, stop right there. Don't want to hear the rest of this movie. I just can't give kudos enough to Taika Waititi. The humor definitely lands. My third best thing, I know I don't usually do that, but Yorkie, that kid, Archie Yates, is so great. It is not a good time to be a Nazi. He steals the show. Cameron.
Yeah, just kind of similar to along those lines is every single character was just like perfectly casted. I don't know, like I couldn't think of like a person where I was like, man, I wish this person would have done that part.
I can.
Okay, yeah, Scarlett Johansson, whatever, chill. That interview with Taika Waititi, I also watched that. I loved it because he's like, yeah, I'm the perfect person to play your typical Aryan race. Light brown skin, like brown curly hair, whatever. He's like, Hitler's probably turning in his grave right now, cause like the fact that I portrayed him. I just really loved how each character just like perfectly portrayed what you would imagine of that person. Like obviously Hitler was more of like a joking matter of dark humor, but then there was moments where when he was yelling at Jojo, I felt fear. That's why you would understand why Hitler would just take control of those positions, because like they would just yell, and he wants to like yell you into submission. The cinematography joined with the dialogue, I felt like a lot of it just meshed really well, because there's a lot of times I was catching myself like, holy cow, this is really a beautiful shot, and then I'm like, wait, I need to like pay attention, these are such good lines that I'm missing, and like it was just a really good combo. I liked them both.
Jordan, what are 2 of your favorite things?
My favorite things.
No, not just anything. This movie. Okay.
Jesus.
Ice cream.
Oh, my 2 favorite things. Sorry, I'm caught up on the nitpicking. I can't get them out of my head.
Chill.
Scarlett Johansson.
I know. I'm sorry. Dude, I loved her in The Island, and I used to have a huge crush on her in high school. I don't know what my deal is.
What? I'll base the performance on whether I think she's hot. Wow.
That is not what I'm saying. Oh my gosh. No.
Kind of sounds like it.
That's what it sounds like, but that's not what I'm saying.
I don't find her attractive anymore. Yeah, I just fast forward through all the scenes she's in.
That's horrible. That's horrible. No, she's a wonderful person. Oh, geez. I love Sam Rockwell. I think he steals the show, in my opinion. I think he's the best part of the movie. I absolutely love him in everything he's in. So seeing him in this movie, I'm just like, I want more Sam. And I even went back to re-listen to his scenes. Like, can a blind person do this? Like, I don't know. I don't know if that was the exact line. I'm sure I'm...
He said, could a one-eyed or a two-eyed soldier do this?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Even after Jojo blows up, he's like, that is what you don't do. And then I love when he's in the hospital and he's like, oh, man, your mom's going to kill me.
Yorkie finds him laying on the ground.
I got emotional at the end, too. Like, when they shot him, oh, my gosh, I just got overwhelmed with emotion. And that scene is the most emotional scene, in my opinion, but I'm sure we can have that up for debate. You guys already mentioned it, but the visual humor, he's just obviously always been good in all his films, Taika Waititi. And he always has these heartfelt moments in his movies. He's really good at those. And it's really cool because he'll mention something early on in the scene, and I'm like, oh, he brought that back later, so then it's like that much more heartfelt.
I was thinking of the letters with the boy and the girl. He wrote you another letter. He's not breaking up with you.
The dancing, that's what it was. Because she mentioned it earlier on, you're waiting for it to happen, do their little dance. I love when what's-her-name straps up bombs to the little kids and says,
go hug an American.
Yeah, hug the closest American you see.
That was the best.
And it's like the 10 Aryan boys that all look the exact same.
Yeah, they're like the
Elijah.
For some reason, I don't know why, every single time I saw the movie, the whole thing about the German Shepherds, it just gets me every time. It makes me laugh so hard. I don't know why, but that part is just so good where Sam looks at him, he's like, not real German Shepherds. And then he like apologizes to him. He's like, I'm sorry, the dogs, the German Shepherds, they all have similar names, And then you see him fighting later on, which is just awesome. And then honestly, like in an overarching theme, I'm obsessed with him. I've told Cameron this many times. I love Taika. But one thing I loved about this movie, we mentioned a few times, is the foreshadowing of it. You notice even at the very start when they're at the camp and Jojo, they're burning books. He's throwing books on the fire. He's super gleeful about it. And then you see him just pause for a second and he has this kind of look in his eyes of not remorse, but almost like, what am I doing this for? And then he just puts the smile on and goes right back to it. And I think that was like a perfect symbolism of like, the reason they went after kids is because they knew they were doing things without thinking about them. And I just love that he incorporated the whole idea of like brainwashing kids through the regime. And that's how they built such a powerful, I don't want to call it an empire, but it was really the realism that he had. It was such an absurd time in history of like the Heil Hitler scene is like, they actually had to do that to every single person that walked in the room. And I love that he left absolutely none of that out. Just so good.
Just showed how unreasonable it is. Heil Hitler.
That was probably where I laughed the hardest. It's just how ridiculous Stephen Merchant, I'm here with Herr Junker, Herr Mueller, Herr Klum. And it's just like so painful because then someone new comes into the room and then, it's a mantra, right? They're all brainwashed into continually saying it out of fear, obligation, what have you. Jordan, you need to get some things off your chest. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of your nitpicks here? Two things you disliked about the movie.
Oh, but now you guys all got me in a good mood. I just thinking about this film, now I can't even remember what I wanted to say.
Scarlett Johansson, Jordan. Not wearing sexy tight clothes.
Oh my gosh.
Like, shut up and go back to being Black Widow again. Kicking people in tight leather outfits. We're painting you as a sexist misogynist. I'm so sorry. But we all just, said Heil Hitler at the beginning of the episode, so it's not like anyone could think any worse of us.
No. The whole reason I was kind of just upset watching it this time was just because of everything going on in the world right now. It's just, this movie gave me a little bit of anxiety. Like, I was thinking, oh my gosh, like, this is kind of scary how real this is. Like, the burning the books. I was just thinking how people are, like, tearing down monuments right now. They're trying to, like, erase history. Like, I panicked a little bit. I'm like, oh man, I hope we don't go to that extreme. That's why I was a little upset watching it this time.
So Jordan did not like the movie. He just had anxiety watching the movie.
I don't know if it's a criticism, but that's a fair point. That could be something you dislike about it. I mean, how prevalent it is, right? I mean, you make a World War II film today in 2019, it's still just as prevalent, like you said. This is going on, right? Current events, and there's a lot of divide, unrest, prejudice being circulated, and it's promulgated by media and social media platforms. You just see how ugly it is. A lot of this just stems from uneducation, right? I mean, if you're uneducated, you don't know what cause you're fighting for, for, and you can say ridiculous things. It's crazy. People will get on Twitter and they'll say things, they'll post a video of themselves, and they're like trying to fight for a cause or trying to say something maybe edgy or something, and then they lose their job over it, you know? I mean, it's a really strange time we're going through right now.
Yeah, I don't want to dive too far down this rabbit hole, but I just...
The Jojo Rabbit hole? Dude, I've got puns.
my
That's right.
gosh.
I'm here all week. Thank you.
I don't want to spend too much time on this because I do love the film. I don't like to focus on the negative stuff. It's just sad that we had to have somebody like Hitler to bring us so close together as a country. I don't know. I'm just thinking of like Game of Thrones, you know, where the only way to bring all the people together, even like people that were once enemies, they had to have like the Snow King or whatever his name is.
Ice King.
Ice King, yeah. It's just sad because it's like now that we don't have a big threat to bring us together, now we're just dividing amongst ourselves. It's just sad. That's all I can say about it.
So everyone united around their hatred for Hitler. Taking down Hitler was like this unifying cause.
At the time, it was like you were proud to be an American to fight against the psychopath. But now it's like everybody hates to call themselves American.
I think it's easier because like he was a perfect bad guy. And so it's kind of easier when you have like the perfect bad guy, like let's all team up against that. This person is murdering innocent people. And versus when it's like an idea or abstract thing, it gets more like murky and kind of the gray mixed waters to where like it depends on your opinion, like maybe your culture, your background, what you think on this idea, and that's when it gets complicated.
I wouldn't even call it a nitpick because that's nothing about the film. That's just some feeling I had while I watched the film. So honestly, I have no quarrels with this film. It's actually pretty freaking spot on. Even the intro, oh my gosh, making Hitler like a superstar.
The Beatles in German comes on, right? They did a good job at immersing you right into that world. It almost looked like an infomercial. This was the propaganda. Hindsight's always 20/20. We can see clearly that it was a bad thing. It almost helps when you see how people got duped into believing this. Hitler was an amazing orator. He would have these terrifying but arousing speeches that got everyone, you know, clamoring. He had a way with words.
Well, the other thing that stressed me out about this film, the entire film's about brainwashing kids. With our society today, I just feel like everything is being filtered. You can't even post certain things on social media without getting censored. You can get canceled, certain shows. That's what's really scaring me because it's like our country's no longer going to be a free country. It's going to be like everything's censored.
I retain my right to say Heil Hitler on this podcast.
It just worries me. That's all, you know, that we're going to end up not saying, hopefully not like a Nazi country, but I'm just...
We're two shakes and a leg from being occupied by a crazy warlord. Okay,
I'm over-exaggerating.
You see it at the end where all these kids are so brainwashed, and then he tells them Hitler dies, and Jojo's like freaking out about it for a second, and he goes, we have bigger things to worry about. There's Russians coming, and he says like, Russians have sex with dogs or something like that. Like, it's so ridiculous, but you can tell like Yorkie fully believes that when he's saying it right after they found out that Hitler lied to them about everything and he did all this stuff behind their backs that they didn't know about, and then they go full blown into believing the Russians are terrible people right after that. It's just the innocence of kids is so easily manipulated. It's crazy.
That responsibility falls on a previous generation to lay out history, to learn from the lessons that we've had in the past. See, that's the craziest thing. 5 things that a civilization needs. One of them is record keeping. And I thought that was interesting because for a civilization to continue to grow, they have to understand where they came from. We do live in a time right now, it's unprecedented. We're trying to rewrite history, but also try to change it, right? We live at a crossroads right now. If we try to remove our past, there's nothing preventing us from making those mistakes again. That's very Orwellian.
Absolutely.
I mean, George Orwell literally wrote this in 1984. You remove history in the past, you have nothing to compare morality to. You as a society are just blown by the wind, you know, or it could just be the greatest orator like Hitler. And that's what happened in Germany. It really did. And people were looking for a leader, and they will follow the person that seems to have his head on straight, talks beautifully.
You can learn from history. That's the sad part about him destroying all that stuff. And I mean, that's why he wanted to destroy it, so people can't learn. And I feel like we've learned from history, Ty. I mean, because I can't believe it's only 2 generations away that are... And it's really funny because it's Ty's middle name. Ty's middle name is named after our racist grandma.
Wait, slow down. Wait, grandma's racist?
Yeah, Spiker? Oh, yeah.
Why am I just learning about this on the podcast? This is not the place to be finding out about this. Oh my gosh.
Anyways, what I was going to say is we learn from that history, right? Like we don't learn to be like our grandma. We're nothing like her. Oh, did I say grandma? I meant great aunt. We learn not to be prejudiced. And Mom bought a little vacuum and she named it Spiker because it's her little like slave bot. So it's like now she's made.
Everything's come full circle. Now who's the slave?
So what does it tell you when she gave me her son the the name Spiker. She's like, you're gonna grow up to be a great racist, just like your great grandmother. Oh wait, racist. Oh my god.
I'm done with my little tangent. That is all I wanted to talk about.
Now I found a new least favorite thing about this movie. It's just all the information you just dumped on me. I'm gonna need a second. Cameron, you go.
Literally, the only thing that like took me out of the film for a second was third time watching it was when I saw Taika Waititi's eyes, just because I could tell that they were like contact lenses. I couldn't tell if he was doing that intentionally to like show like I'm not actually real. That might have even been like intentional in him trying to show like no one's actually like perfect like the Aryan race, because Hitler wasn't even like Aryan race, like blonde and blue-eyed, and I'm like, how do you have the perfect race but you're not part of it? I was confused.
Oh, I like that. Oh, look at you getting the deeper meaning in here. I like it.
There's like a really deep theme of family in this movie. Scarlett Johansson plays the role of Jojo's mom, and she does an amazing job raising this boy on her own. But Sam Rockwell actually plays the part of the father in this movie, the one man that Jojo looks up to. That is a character you would argue finds redemption in this story, right? Or I'm not the arbiter of justice and mercy, but he attempts to make mercy by saving Jojo's life at the very end. They're all lined up to be shot for war crimes.
And saving the girl on the wall's life too, when he was like, okay, yeah, that's the correct birthday, when it wasn't.
Yes. You had him try to atone for what he did. And that is just a remarkable theme because, you know, it's weird. I think we do live in a time where we don't believe in forgiveness. Well, let's dig up what somebody said 20 years ago. It's like, do you not think it's possible that their opinions have changed or they've grown up a little bit, matured a little bit, that this might no longer be something that they even believe or maybe even remember saying? But no, now it's like we live in a time where it's like, hey, you ever said something bad or did something bad in your past? We're gonna just remove you entirely.
I know we have on the podcast. We're gonna get canceled.
Come at me, bro. I love to talk about these things because I think it's so important that we get these ideas out. I think it's so important that we work through ideas and that we're trying to learn from mistakes in the past and try to constantly atone. We're constantly making mistakes and we're just trying to better the world in every way we can. And I think that was really cool because Sam Rockwell, he's obviously a closeted homosexual and that's not okay. The Nazis single-handedly targeted like the most amount of groups of people, homosexuals, African Americans, Russians, every single person. They just alienated from everyone. Once you've excluded everybody, there's nobody else on the island but you. And it's unbelievable. It's such a good way of showing how useless this prejudice and racism is. Kudos to Taika for doing a film like this because I don't know what possesses someone to do a film like this right after the success of Ragnarok.
You know, the sad part, Ty, is he had to announce that this was a satire before it was released because it's like he was so afraid people would be like, whoa, they would lose their minds if they...
I'm not sure Taika was. I'd like to hear what his opinion on it. Probably executives like...
Right.
Yeah, it's not him. I'm just saying it's the studios. Yeah,
the people
good
trying to
point.
market this movie. Okay, we need to sell this movie. You need to understand that it's like a satire. And it's like, this is just a story from the perspective of Jojo Rabbit. I don't actually view it as a satire. I think there was people that were just as flippant about following whatever they were told to do. I mean, it happens today. An excellent documentary, One Child Nation. If you ever see that, just watch what happens and what people are willing to turn a blind eye to for the good, air quotes, of the party, right? That they belong to, for the group, the greater good, right?
The greater good.
Or sterilization of women, like dragging them out in the street. I couldn't watch the documentary. It is horrifying. Brought me to tears, and that is a movie I cried in. And we live in a time that's so sensitive. Gotta make sure you understand what this is, you dummy. Because you're gonna watch this film and be like, oh, look, he's showing Hitler as like in a goofy light. Oh my gosh. Yes, because this is from the perspective of a 10-year-old boy who is being activated by this ideal.
So I did hear through the grapevine, unnamed, that actually they wanted to take out the scene where Sam at the very end of the movie, he like spits on Jojo, takes off his jacket, he saves Jojo.
Oh, my favorite part.
Right, and throughout the movie you start realizing he's a good guy, but there's nothing to prove it because the mention of the birthday wrong wasn't made a huge deal. None of that of him being a good guy was made a huge deal. You don't really realize it's not till the end of the movie that you realize it when he saves Jojo. Apparently, they did not want that scene in the movie for some reason, and he told them, I guess, that he would not do the movie unless that scene was a part of it.
Oh, hallelujah.
We live in a time where you cannot say sorry. You need to put them in a category box and you need to lock them away because it's like you said something, you've crossed the line, now you're ostracized. That arc is probably the most important part of this. They look at it and they're like, well, this is humanizing Nazis. We are all human beings on this planet and a lot of us get brainwashed. A lot of us get put into something that we don't want to be. This is no excuse for Nazism. I mean,
Right.
Elijah, you of all people can attest
Exactly.
to that. We are not excusing that. I think that's so cool.
Right, and I think that was the whole idea, is like it brought some humanity to him, and it was a completely selfless act. Like, he got killed right after. There was nothing in it for him. It was completely selfless, but I think the reason they might not have wanted it in the movie is because, like you said, it brings this humanity to him of like, not everybody was a terrible person, but some were just following orders or going through the motions. Now, you look back on history and you go, every Nazi was a piece of garbage because of what they did, but I think Taika is such a good director because he does bring that humanity to it, and he sometimes talks about things that are very uncomfortable, which is not everybody was a great person. Not everybody was a bad person. I apologize.
Yeah, it goes both ways. We just live in a time where, it's just categories. You're in this box or this box.
Very polarizing, yeah.
You can't have different views. Everyone wants to label you,
Right, exactly.
We're all human beings. We all have very complex emotions, but we all just want to say, oh, you're this. It's like, you know nothing about me.
Have any of you seen History X?
American History X?
Yeah, American History X, sorry.
No, with Edward Norton, no. I haven't.
It's literally the same movie, but it's the rated R version of this movie.
This wasn't rated R.
Watching Edward Norton in his underwear threatening to curb stomp a guy with a pistol to his head doesn't really have the same charm as Jojo Rabbit does, so I just guess I kind of steered clear of that movie. What an edgy guy, man. What doesn't help also is like Edward Norton is like hard as an actor to deal with. At least that's what I hear in the tabloids. But it's like, great, a really high off his hog actor thinks he's all that and he does a really edgy movie. Good for him. How's that working out for him? Oh, that's right. He turned down the Incredible Hulk, who's now worth multi-million-dollar character. What an idiot. Sorry. Okay.
I like him still. The film's really good. It's powerful.
Cancel Edward Norton. I'm going to categorize him as an actor I don't like to work with.
It's just somebody that's a modern day Nazi, but then ends up befriending and realizing that people are humans, so it's good.
Oh, sorry. Wait, you're saying Edward Norton's character. I thought you meant like the actor.
Yeah, I thought.
See, oh man, you gotta be in a certain place to be willing to act in a movie as a Nazi. In an interview, Stephen Merchant, who plays the Gestapo, the really tall one with the glasses, the lanky one, just got another script to play a terrible racist. But then when he found out Taika Waititi was attached to it, his mind changed. His scene was actually used as comedic relief. That there was actual genuine fear at the time. It wasn't just like, they made it look like a fun thing. Scarlett Johansson going around in secret and housing a Jew, that was a penalty by execution.
What you just said kind of plays into like one of my favorite parts of the movie. The first time her and Jojo are walking through the street and they see somebody hanging, and he says, what did they do? And she says they did what they could. And that's exactly what she was doing, is she was separating those two worlds of her son, who was obsessed with this fascist regime, this Jewish girl that she was hiding in her walls, who she wanted to protect, and she didn't want to hurt anybody in the process. And that was like so powerful to me the first time they saw that. And then that translates right over into Jojo seeing her shoes. In my head, I'm thinking he's thinking she did what she could, because now he is friends with Elsa, right, the Jewish girl on the wall. He is now friends with her, and he realizes she did what she could.
I love that quote when she said that, and then you kind of just saw everything that she was dealing with. Like, she had to act like everything was okay, like around all the Nazis, and then also when she was dealing with her son, when Jojo was being rebellious or whatever. At first, I kind of didn't like the scene when she like smeared the charcoal on her face. At first, I was like, whoa, what the heck is happening? But I loved it because it showed she's like, I have to be mom and dad. I'm having a child in my wall. I'm trying to keep this Nazi child from like being corrupted. She had so many things to deal with, and so she's just like doing the best that she could. And she was always like, she appeared to be happy because she didn't want that to affect him.
Mothers are the best.
Yeah, they are.
Shout out to Mom. We love you, Mom, because you're the only one that listens to this podcast. Yeah. This is for you.
The symbolism of the rabbit, I just loved like that. First off, the title, he gives him the rabbit, and he's like, kill it. He's like, kill, kill, kill. And you just like felt like a cult. Oh my gosh. Third time watching it, I noticed that some of the other kids were kind of nervous too. Like when they said everyone willing to kill, they looked around, they were nervous, like no. And then when they saw everyone's hands go up, they were like, yeah. And so that was just like what you had to do. And so then when he has the chance, he's like, no, shoo, shoo, shoo. And then he just like kills the rabbit. But like the rabbit was so afraid. And then like they're talking about, when she's teaching him how to tie his shoelace, she's like, the rabbit goes through the hole and like down. And then he's hopping up the stairs near the river. And so I just kind of felt like they were comparing, like Jojo was literally like a rabbit. Because rabbits are like super nervous animals or whatever. Like when you get near them, they're like, they don't know what to do. do? They just like freeze up and they're like, what's happening? It's because he like loved the idea of fascism and being a Nazi, but he didn't actually love being a Nazi. And I just loved how everyone was just so brainwashed. Even the Jew, she's like, what's the difference between your people and my people? She's like, we're actually human. The people are brainwashed to treating other people almost as if they're not their same race. It was just insane.
Ready Player One, the girl with the mark on her, and she kept thinking like, oh, I'm ugly. And this kid has like a little scratch on his face, and he's like, I'm horrible looking.
Oh, you terribly ugly, disfigured boy.
I know. Like, I know it's a comedy, so it just cracks me up. Like,
I thought it was kind of pointing at the fact that like some people have like the smallest little thing that's wrong with them, and then they feel that like, oh, I'm totally hideous. Like that's especially, I feel like that's more prominent in like women. Oh, because I'm not like perfect in this or whatever, I'm hideous. I love how everyone, like the way that they labeled it, they were like trying to be nice, but then they were just like tearing at his self-confidence. Like, don't make fun of his hideous facial deformity.
yeah, that's right.
And I'm just like, jeez, like so ruthless.
What I also really liked, though, but realized how quickly they turned on him. See, the promise was that he would become a soldier, right? He would join the ranks of the noble brotherhood, right, of Nazism, and join the cause and the fight. But what happened was, while he was trying to be initiated, he had this accident, right? Aspiring to be this really brave Nazi. And he throws a grenade, and due to a mishap, the grenade lands at his feet, bouncing off a tree, and proceeds to blow him up. He survives, thankfully. It's only just a few scratches, but what happens? He's no longer allowed to be in that club because of what? A physical deformity that was outside of his control. So you literally, it shows how ridiculous this club, the Nazism, is. You're all part of the group. You join us just to be a pawn in our game. It's all about power. As soon as we get that power and we get what we want, you are disposed of. Not a second thought. You're not pure Aryan, no blemishes. You're not a perfect out. You don't even get a server in our army. You're like, what?
Your soldiers can't even be ugly, like as if that matters. Right. That all your soldiers have to be pretty. Like what?
It just shows you how backwards that type of thinking is, and I think that's why it was in the movie.
The only other thing is somebody pointed out at work, he served a mission for our church in Germany, and he said that the accents in this movie are horrendous. I wouldn't know. I was okay with it.
Taika Waititi, in an interview, they asked him, like, why are you playing Hitler? What better F you to Hitler than me being... I think he was like, just be liberal with the accent.
Just hamming it up.
Yeah, and that plays to the satire, right? It's like, we're not trying to do a really well done, performed accent. Very little German in a film about Nazi Germany.
I was wondering that when the little boy, they had him captured, but he wanted the boy not to be captured, right? He wanted him, get away from me, Jew, but he's speaking to him. For our sake, in the film, it was in English, but in real life, it would have been in German. The Americans would have heard that and been like, oh, he is, we're going to keep him, because...
But at that time, all the Jews were in Germany, so they would have spoken fluent German.
Okay, that's what I wondered.
No, but yeah, out of necessity for their lives, right? They learn German. But it is very interesting. I mean, like, a lot of them are, it's so remarkable. We are so dumb here in America. You can barely get by with 2 years in Spanish to go apply for college and the colors and count to 20. But in Europe, you grow up not only learning the language of your country, but English, and then 2-3 other Latin-based languages. It's amazing. Let's do favorite quotes.
She's like a female Jesse Owens. Did you see how fast she was? How did she get control? Mind control. So reverse psychology? Don't try to overcomplicate this, kid. Just use the backwards mind control to like trick her into this.
This is Nathan dying by a bicycle. This is Nathan dying by this. I love when he's looking through the book. That was my favorite scene.
The one with the bike with the one giant wheel and the one tiny wheel, and he's being crushed by it. So good.
It took him a week and a half to get over the fact that his grandfather wasn't blonde. I was just like, oh my goodness. Like things like that just showed how like important it was to be like pure Aryan or whatever. It reminds me of Harry Potter with being like mudblood and stuff, where it's like, oh, you can't mix with muggle blood.
I love when she's sitting super far away, she's scooting over telling, oh yeah, they can mind control you. She's like, he controlled my uncle. He cheated on his wife. He did all this stuff. It was all the Jews' fault.
Unrelated accident.
Jews, Gesundheit.
And that was another thing Taika Waititi was criticized for, was all the Jewish jokes. But it's about trying to paint this picture. It's like, well, don't be insensitive now. This film is taking place in a different time. This is what was happening. People were not only satirizing, but a lot of people were being told these clear lies. Jojo believes the most outlandish things. That, mind control, that they'll suck your blood, they're vampires, they sleep upside down at night. It's just so unreal.
One of my favorites is when Elsa looks at him and she says, "You're not a Nazi, Jojo," and he goes, "Well, I'm massively into swastikas, so that's a pretty good sign right there. It's once again that innocence of like, he has no idea what he's doing. He's into swastikas, so he thinks he's a Nazi.
They're calling me Jojo Rabbit. It's like, people call me lots of names. They said, oh, this guy's a lunatic. Oh, look at that psycho. He's going to get us all killed.
And then he starts begging him. He's like, just hire me. Just a little bit. Just hire me just a little bit.
I love that part.
And then when they're arguing or whatever, and he's like, stop offering me dang cigarettes. I'm 10. I'm sorry, okay? I'm stressed.
Or he like walks into the room and Hitler's laying in the bed and he's like, I'm keeping the bed warm for you. That's what good friends do. Like, what? One of my other favorite quotes is right after he gets called Jojo Rabbit and Yorkie runs up to him and he goes, who are you talking to? And he's like, nobody. He goes, oh, I thought you were crying. And Jojo just looks at him and he goes, what, are you a teardrop specialist?
I love the one too where right before Hitler like dives out the window. I gotta go. We're having unicorn for dinner at my place tonight.
The first time I saw the movie, I didn't even understand that unicorn. I just thought it was just something funny. But then they show a scene of Jojo sitting at the table and he's eating like lentils, which is like the cheapest form of food you can buy. And Hitler's sitting across from eating this like perfectly cooked unicorn. And I almost think that Taika included that to show the juxtaposition of like the higher ups in the Nazi regime were living these lavish lives while the rest of the country was just suffering on a whole nother level of suffering. And I never realized the first time I watched it, and that really struck me the second time.
There's some great physical comedy, obviously, when Jojo picks up the grenade and throws it, and it's the music's playing, Taika Waititi's doing like the guns dance, and he's like, you go, Jojo, you go, and then just bounces off a tree and lands right back at his feet, and he's just like, oh, crap, and it blows up in his face. There's another scene where Jojo sees Yorkie, and he's like, Yorkie, Jojo, and he drops the other half of this RPG. Yeah, just launches this rocket into a bookstore, just blows up this corner store. Jordan, would you recommend this film?
Oh, definitely. You have to see it at least once if you haven't seen it.
Cameron?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like a really similar to Inglourious. It's like a lighter tone because of like the violence. Because I mean, like the scalping in Inglourious, gotta kind of stomach that. That's why I didn't have a problem with their German accents, because it kind of just reminded me of Brad Pitt's accent in Inglourious. He's like, Gorlami, business is a booming. He's like, this Nazi wants to die for country. Oblige him. That's what I kind of like there. It's like making fun of almost the German accent of like, it's really ridiculous. And this, I thought it was just kind of like an undertone of everything that they do and everything that they're teaching is ridiculous.
Elijah?
100%. I saw it many, many times, so yes, I would absolutely recommend it.
I definitely recommend this movie. The Jojo Rabbit is a home run. This is an excellent film.
Which one is your guys' favorite Taika Waititi movie?
I absolutely love What We Do in the Shadows. That's what got me into Taika. I think that is like the start of his insane humor. Hunt for the Wilder People is amazing, but I think What We Do in the Shadows takes the cake for me.
I think his funniest film by far is What We Do in the Shadows. It is gut-splittingly funny. This one had several moments, Jojo, but yeah, I would argue that What We Do in the Shadows is his funniest, but I think the one that gets me the feels is either Jojo or Hunt for the Wilder People. It's hard to say which is better, right? You want more laughs? Watch What We Do in the Shadows, because there's not a lot of feels in that movie. There's just a lot of laughter. Unless, you know, the vampires really make you upset.
I like the jokes from Thor Ragnarok, but I think Hunt for the Wilder People overall is my favorite of his films.
Yeah, probably mine is Hunt for the Wilder People as well, because that was also what introduced me, and I just, like, I can rewatch that one unlimited times. Because I kind of felt that, Jordan, with Jojo Rabbit, like, it's still amazing as, like, as a rewatch or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not, like, Hunt for the Wilder People, like, I'm engaged in, like, every single time, like, 100%. The jokes in Thor Ragnarok are hilarious. That was the only thing I didn't love about Hunt for the Wilder People is how little Taika had in it. The one scene he's in, he just steals the show as vegetables? No, not vegetables. As the priest, and he just does such a good job.
I know. I wanted to see more Hitler. I was like, I just want him in every shot.
He made you laugh in scenes where he didn't say a thing. Like, I love it when Scarlett Johansson and Jojo Rabbit are, like, really mad at each other. And so, like, they're eating really aggressively at the table. And he's kind of like, I'm just going to head out. Like, this is an uncomfortable situation.
We are now going to start the next segment. It is Build a Perfect Movie. We combine 2 Rotten Tomatoes scores and try to equal as close to 100% as possible.
And it's got to be comedy.
I was going to say we should do all Nazi films, but that's kind of a limited list.
Take like 5.
Yeah, you've got, like, Inglourious, Valkyrie.
There's the Puppet Master. They have Nazis in that one.
Which one?
Yeah, trust me, there's plenty of, what is it, Dead Snow, Nazi Zombies. Nazi Zombies was a movie before it was in Call of Duty.
Yeah, Overlord. They just came out with that. That's about Nazi zombies. Cameron, there's plenty. Okay? Schindler's List. List goes on.
You could do Kung Fury, that short that was 30 minutes long. That is like the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Me, Myself, and Irene.
It's trash.
Have you seen it yet, Cameron?
No, I have it on my list.
I was slightly disappointed with that one. I think I had it built up too much.
Oh, really? I loved it. When he's taking a dump on the guy's lawn. Oh, my gosh. Have you ever just been so mad at somebody you just wanted to dump on their lawn?
Not anytime recently.
Just when he's peeing and he's just like, get your out of my gas tank. That was so funny. Cameron.
Grown Ups 2. See what I can work with. It's going to be a horrible rating.
Get like 2%.
Yeah, I know. That's what I need, dude.
It was really sad. We've relied on Adam Sandler like the most in this podcast to do our one junkie movie.
Well, we just know that Rotten Tomatoes ripped him a new butt.
It's Adam Sandler or like Jim Carrey ones are very solid, like 40 or 50 or 60. Those are the safe bets.
Elijah.
I was gonna say, speaking of Jim Carrey, Fun with Dick and Jane for a mid-score probably.
Comedies are so tough too.
To get a high one.
Yeah. I can think of plenty of crappy ones. Blades of Glory. I wonder what that gets me at.
Might be like 20% or something.
Do you think Dodgeball would be high? No, there's no way that's a high rating.
No.
Jordan, Me, Myself, and Irene, 47%. Cameron, Grown Ups 2, 7%. Elijah, Fun with Dick and Jane, 28%.
Dang, that's lower than I thought.
I did Blades of Glory. That was 70%. Holy cow. Considering how the humor is derived from, like, I don't know if it's homophobia, but, like, obviously that's where a lot of the humor comes from. I guess it was a different time, right?
Wow.
But is it homophobic? Because they're two guys skating together.
Right, but isn't that where the humor comes from, is, like, how unnatural that is?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
What do I know? It wouldn't get made today, right? I mean, that's not a film, but I'm just surprised that, like, critics, I guess at the time, were like, oh, it's funny. Like, critics are so weird to turn a blind eye to things like, I don't know. What do I know?
My favorite part from that movie is when the guy working at the hot dog stand, he like puts 2 hot dogs in a bun. And he's like, "Does that look normal to you?"
Oh, it's so terrible. That movie is quotable, though, I would say. That's one of those Will Ferrell comedies that you forget about, right? I mean...
Yeah, I'm trying to think of... I'm either going to go with Paul Blart Mall Cop, the first one, or Hitch.
They have 2 Paul Blart Mall Cops. You know that, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to go for the second one. I'm not stupid, Jordan.
Dang it.
I want to go with Hitch, but I'm worried that that's really high.
Well, that's good. You only have like 2%, right?
I have 7 or 8.
Dude, you're fine.
You have 7%.
Okay, yeah, I'll go with Hitch.
Unless Hitch is like 99, then you're screwed.
I would be shocked.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way it gets over 80. I mean, under an 83, but no way over a 95.
I'll do Bewitched with Will Ferrell. I'm pretty sure that got crapped on. I'm hoping it's like 40%, but it's probably like a 20. I'm hoping Cameron bust.
I want to say Caddyshack.
Which one? There's 2.
The first one, obviously.
Jordan, we're not that dumb. Cheap.
I don't know if the second one even counts as a movie.
Who's that starring?
That's got Bill Murray, Chevy Chase,
Chevy.
Rodney Dangerfield.
Fantastic movie.
I don't think you've ever seen that one, Cameron. Yeah, to me, it's just a snapshot to what life was like back in the late 70s.
Yes. Coke fueled.
Yeah, hey.
What should we do next? Yeah, got the next scene ready?
So good.
Chevy Chase. Moist towelettes. I'm quoting Community, but I love Chevy Chase. The worst character, but he's so funny.
He added a lot to that show, though.
Perfect 30 comedy would be something starring, how about Almost Heroes with Chris Farley and Matthew Perry?
That one was rough.
Where he like freaks out.
That was the worst acting I've ever seen in my life.
I know, dude. What was that movie? Okay.
That was amazing.
It was like Pocahontas in it or whatever. That was so weird.
Jordan, you had Me, Myself, and Irene, 47%. You did Bewitched, 25%.
Ah, boo-hoo.
So that gives you a total of 72%.
Oh man, I'm kind of low.
Cameron, you had Grown Ups 2, 7%. Hitch,
Bust.
68%.
Oh,
So that gives you a total.
What is that? 70 what?
75.
75%.
Boo! You
What's
stink.
what was
hate
Jordan
you.
at? Jordan 73? Haha.
Ah!
See ya, Jordan.
Elijah, you had Fun with Dick and Jane, 28%. Caddyshack, 74%. I'm sorry, but you bust.
No, by 2.
Just over by 2.
Dang.
No.
102? Oh man, that was close.
So I did Blades of Glory, which was 70%, and then I did Almost Heroes, 8%. So I got a total of 78%.
Oh my God.
Got beat, Jordan Cameron. I win.
72, 75, and 78. Elijah with 102.
Wow.
I'm just as surprised as you guys. Like, I was was gonna start low and then try to think of a high one. Then I had to switch my strategy. But the fact that Blades of Glory is the best comedy that we just like, it's higher rated than Hitch.
It's crazy.
It's barely under Caddyshack.
That's crazy.
That
That
is
is so
horrid.
funny. Rotten Tomatoes. You don't know what you're gonna get.
So unpredictable.
Well, really quick though, Elijah, like we want to be respectful of your times.
No, you're totally fine.
Well, I don't care about your time, so quick. I'll just do the 5 quotes. So where is it? Where's my food?
What?
Did you tell Elijah that we're supposed to name the movie?
Yeah. No, you're just supposed to sit there and listen to me quote movies. Guess what the movie is?
Was it Finding Nemo?
No, but you're on the right track.
Second quote.
It's a animated movie.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, where's my phone?
He's sacrificing himself. How brave.
It sounds like Nemo, dude.
Dude, I don't know.
I'm trying to be as menacing as possible. I'm played by Kevin Spacey.
Is it Hercules?
No, it is not Hercules. Circus bugs. How can you be circus bugs?
Oh, Bug's Life.
There it is. All right. Man, you guys are slow.
I have not seen that since, forever.
Yeah, that's Hopper when he's threatening everybody, right? Gets there in the offering. It's all gone.
Oh, it's so scary.
I tried to pick like a semi-obscure quote, but it's like an iconic moment where you meet the villain. Next quote. Kill us faster. Now I can relax.
Oh, Harry Potter, the Sorcerer's Stone.
Pass, dude. Yeah, that is the first one. Dang it. Yeah, it's in the vines.
Ron Weasley.
I don't know if you guys will get this one. You can call me Aunt Vicky.
Oh.
Is this Robin Williams, the maid, Mrs. Doubtfire?
Mrs. Doubtfire? That's what I was thinking as well.
No, that's a hilarious guess.
I've definitely seen it. I'm just trying to remember.
Peanut butter and Oreos. Summer camp.
Wet Hot American Summer?
No. Think more innocent. It's much more innocent.
Hey, Wet Hot American Summer is pretty innocent.
No, it is.
What up? No, it's not.
Holes?
I'm trying to help lean you guys into old Disney. I don't know, I'm just like on a Disney binge right now. When you have 2 kids, this is all you watch. So the Bad to the Bone song comes on.
Oh, Megamind.
No.
What?
Whoever loses this hand has to jump into the lake.
Is this the twins? Oh my gosh, Lindsay Lohan.
Yes.
What's it called?
Oh, Parent Trap.
Oh my gosh.
I'm giving that one to Elijah. He definitely knew the movie. You guys weren't getting it. That's awesome, Elijah. You definitely get the point there.
Thank you. I'm a king of movie quotes.
You're doing excellent right now, you guys. We're gun runners. Let's go run some guns.
War Dogs.
War Dogs.
Oh, snap. That was close. I'm going to give that one to Elijah. I heard him coming through.
let's see a joke.
It's a tie.
Tie goes to the gas chip.
I don't know. Dave, is that the kind of guy you'd go for with all that leather?
Oh, Kick-A.
That's right. Kick. Jordan, I'm afraid you win. But Elijah, you gave him a run for your money.
Thank you.
Or for a run for his money, I
Yeah,
think.
you definitely said that wrong, but I was going to let it slide.
You do not get paid for coming on this podcast.
Oh, man.
Okay, just that as a disclaimer I have to make every time I guess. Cardhead guessing game. We're thinking of a movie character. Let's do Elijah. Why don't you just mute real quick? Can you hear us, Elijah?
No.
Okay, perfect. All right. When you say no, it's very reassuring.
Great response.
Read lip.
Yeah, I just responded to "Can you hear me?" because I can hear noise coming through.
What's a movie character? Just someone iconic.
Ron Weasley.
Perfect.
All right, Elijah. So you've got 2 minutes. Just go ahead and start. You can yes or no questions.
Am I an animated character?
No.
No.
Am I white?
Yes.
Yes.
Am I funny?
Very much so.
Yes.
Am I very much?
You can be white, but you can also be very much white.
There's a distinction. Am I on a comedy series?
No.
Am I a very serious character?
No.
When you say very much so, am I Hitler?
That's a good guess, though.
You never know. Do I have black hair?
No.
Do I have blonde hair?
No.
So I'm going to assume here I have red hair. Do I have red hair?
Yes.
Was I in a series in the last 3 years?
Not 3 years.
Okay, am I in a drama?
No.
Is it a romance?
No.
Okay, is it an action movie?
No.
Is it a thriller?
No.
What kind of movie are we watching here?
What kind of movies is there? There's only action, comedy, and romance.
Is it a horror movie?
No.
Am I alive? Still alive?
Yes. We've reached our 2-minute mark, Elijah. But we're going to give you a hint.
The series is based off of books.
It's based off of books. Am I Ron Weasley?
Yeah, there you go.
That was good. I was just going to say fantasy is the movie
True,
genre.
yeah.
See, it's hard because it does have the elements of...
Yeah, it has all those other
Let's
elements.
torture Jordan.
Torture me with what?
Let's make him guess. Make him guess. Make him guess. Ziggy, ziggy, iggy, ziggy. Jordan, can you hear us?
I can't hear anything.
Oh my gosh, he's ripped.
Well, we certainly heard that. We should do Scarlett Johansson in...
Black Widow.
I wish I could read lips. So, am I a man?
No.
Am I a woman?
Yes.
Am I a cartoon?
No.
Am I in a TV series?
No.
Not specifically, no.
What? Am I in a movie series?
Yes.
Is it a superhero genre?
Yes.
Oh, fudge. There's not that many. Is it Captain Marvel?
No.
Boo, Captain Marvel, boo.
I know. There's not many superhero women. Wonder Woman.
No. Boo, Wonder Woman.
Okay. Am I Black Widow?
Yes.
Oh, of course. I was like, oh crap, they're gonna make
Scarlett
me say
Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, that's right. Look at that. You thought of her right away. That's
Near
right.
dear to his heart.
Justice served.
It does help though when you have an idea, because after hearing Elijah, I'm like, oh, those are good questions. So I'm like, I need to make sure I ask those questions because that helps a lot.
We are now going to end this podcast with movies that you have seen lately, movies that you are looking forward to seeing.
Movies I'd recommend, because we were talking about animated movies. I've talked to Cameron about this many times. I hope the two of you are better movie watchers than him.
We just might be, yes.
So I would recommend any of the Miyazaki films, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle.
Yes.
They're more on the obscure side, but just phenomenal films.
See, I know nothing about anime. Is Princess Mononoke one of his films or not?
Is this Studio Ghibli? I think so.
Also Miyazaki.
That was one that I very much like, because I didn't get Spirited Away, but I probably need to watch it again. But I watched in Spanish class, and they're like, watch this and write 20 words, vocab words in English, and you watch it with...
So you didn't understand anything. It's hard enough to understand in English, so seeing it in another language, I get it.
The overdub cast for it is like unbelievable. Christian Bale is one of the overdub actors or voice actors.
Is that right? Oh, that's hilarious.
The overdub cast is just stacked. It's pretty crazy.
Well, because Disney bought the rights, so they packed it in good.
Paid some big names. That's fun.
Since we're on the topic of Sam Rockwell, Vice was just a phenomenal movie. I loved it. I think it had plenty of issues with it, but it was a great movie all around, and I think it was a great performance by him.
Have you seen Seven Psychopaths?
I have not.
Oh my gosh, that's my favorite one of Sam Rockwell. So funny.
While we're on Sam Rockwell, I would recommend Moon. That is my favorite Sam Rockwell movie.
So good.
Oh, and Galaxy Quest. You can't forget Galaxy Quest. Comedic
Guy.
What is my character's last name? You know, characters that don't have last names die in TV shows. Guy, you have a last name. Do I? That is a hidden movie gem.
Not much coming out. I loved Peanut Butter Falcon. Phenomenal movie. I love Shia.
It is phenomenal for all you listeners out there. Yes, came from somebody else. It's a good word descriptor. Somebody thinks I use the word phenomenal too much.
Hey, it is a great descriptive word. I didn't get to see Honey Boy yet.
Buckle up. It's definitely not as heartwarming as Peanut Butter.
That's what I've heard.
It's a little more heartbreaking. Excellent performance by Shia nonetheless.
Oh,
Dude,
my
that
gosh.
guy, I don't know what Hollywood to disown that guy, because they need to get him back in making more films.
Please.
He's probably one of the greatest upcoming dramatic actors that we're going to have as of late. I mean, I can't think of anyone. I mean, you got Leo. I mean, after he got his Oscar, he's like, I'm out.
Jake, are you kidding me? Jake Gyllenhaal, the greatest actor of all time?
Cameron.
I actually haven't seen too many films lately. I was watching some of The Fixer Upper with Mom and Dad, and then I watched some chick flick with Mom, and it had Owen Wilson. It was a weird one. He was like, Owen Wilson's like a baseball player. I don't know. It was an interesting film. It was a pretty rough week watching wise, but I'm really looking forward to. Jordan just recently bought The Invisible Man. Oh, cheap.
Yeah, cheap.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that tonight.
Have you seen it yet?
No, I know what I'm looking forward to
Oh,
seeing.
you guys haven't seen it?
Dude, I'm so excited. Oh.
I'm probably going to watch that right after this podcast.
I watched the trailers like a billion times, and Jordan just compared it to, he said that the first half is like a horror thriller, and then the second half is like Upgrade action. And I was like, if you just compared a film to Upgrade, oh, cheap, it's going to be good.
Well, it's the same director.
Oh, it is? Oh, heck yes. He's such a good director.
I know, right? A lot of people that were disappointed just didn't have the right expectations.
I can't stress how excited I am to see this film.
Just giving you expectations.
My expectations. You don't know me. You don't know me. Jordan.
Yeah, this week has been rough. I just been watching some of my favorite episodes. My roommate's been watching AP Bio because they just announced a season 3. Oh, are you freaking kidding me? So I'm excited about that.
Oh, I thought that show got canceled. I didn't know it was still going.
Well, they just announced that they're rebooting it for a new season.
That's the one with the dude from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right, Jordan?
Yeah, my favorite character, Dennis.
Dennis, he's more inhuman than Hitler, dude.
He's a psychopath.
Whoa.
Well, I've got 2 Elijahs on my screen.
Me too. Elijahception. Inception, dude. What's going on?
A couple episodes of Community, which put me in a really good mood. A couple episodes of Parks and Rec. But I also bought Death Race. I watched some of my favorite scenes from Crank too. So now I want to go back and watch Death Race because I like Jason Statham. I think he's just good at making action films.
I think he's good at removing his shirt too. I mean, I don't think there's an actor that removes his shirt as good as Jason Statham in really clever ways too. I remember once he uses it as a weapon, you know? It's pretty cool.
That's actually hilarious.
I just watched Big Hero 6, which is actually a really sweet and endearing film. I remember it being kind of, I mean, there were some sweet moments, but I don't think I enjoyed it as much. But I actually liked it more the second time, and my daughter just loved it. So that's awesome.
Bonus.
A movie that can entertain a 2-year-old and parents can enjoy it. That's the magic of Disney Pixar, man. It's unreal. I'm really looking forward to finally watching The Invisible Man, so I'll definitely be watching that tonight.
Yeah.
Guy that made Upgrade. One of my favorite genres, you know, sci-fi and action. Like, you just can't beat that. After he made Upgrade and the studios gave him more funding, the director said, you get more money. He's like, oh good, now I can make Upgrade with this much money. That makes sense. Because he's passionate about this. It is really cool when you have directors playing to their strengths. I don't think so much of it as typecasting as so much you have a gift and an eye for it. You know, like M. Night Shyamalan, when he tries to do anything other than thrillers, you know, or twist movies, Airbender.
Did he do After Earth as well or no?
Yeah. I enjoyed that though.
I didn't see it. I just know it's Jaden Smith, and I don't really care to see that.
I like it, but I think it's something bad.
I've got a few things really quick, so check this out. Listening to Willow, you chastised him for leaving his kids right near water. Well, do you remember, Ty, when mom and dad left you near water and you got sucked into that canal? Do you remember when you were kids, when we went camping?
Whoa. I didn't get sucked into the canal. It was you.
I think it was me, actually, now that I think about it.
Did you just repress that memory, Jordan? And you're like, oh, it couldn't have been me, because that would have been so scary.
Traumatic childhood event that Jordan's like, oh my gosh, it was me.
So, in a way, you were just chastising mom and dad for
And letting Jordan almost die.
being bad parents on the podcast.
It is no hidden secret. Mom, Dad, if you're listening to this, we love you, but man, you guys were terrible parents.
That's not true.
That is not true. That's why I can say it.
Ty says that 30 minutes after saying moms are the best.
Moms, yeah. Shout out to all the moms out there, but you guys were the worst.
Moms are the best. That's why I cried in Batman when he said, Martha!
You did not cry in Batman vs Superman when he said, why'd you say that name?
I think I cried because I thought I missed something. I was at a drive-in theater. I've told the story so many times. And he's like, Martha. He's like, why'd you say that name? And I was like, well, I know that that's Batman and Superman's mother's name, but why does that matter? Am I missing something here? I've never fought with someone and like, hey, your mom has the same name I do. Maybe I'll spare your life. Like, I don't understand what's going on. Can someone still explain that to me?
Have you been in many positions, Ty, to spare people's lives or kill them?
I've got my hands on their head. I'm gouging out their eyes. And I'm like, oh, your mother's name is my mother's name too? Hey, I'll just spare your life today. Like, I don't get it.
Ty, I could just see us playing a gun game on Call of Duty, and then I yell mom's name, and you hesitate to shoot me, and then I blow your brains out.
Save Valerie. Why did you say that name? Why did you say that name?
Why did you say that name? Okay, I got two more really quick things. After doing the Spider-Man on the podcast and watching it, I had a dream that we were little kids back in our old house, and we were telling Cameron if he gets bit by a Black Widow, he can turn into Spider-Man, and then he gets bit.
Oh my gosh, those are evil. I wouldn't be surprised if that was actually a memory, not just a dream.
And then in the dream, you were like foaming from the mouth, twitching and stuff, and then luckily mom was there and she saved your life.
Oh my gosh.
That was really funny. The last thing I have to say is while I was editing, it was really funny because I was listening to the audio, and there's a ton of moments where I'm just listening, and Cameron, it's hilarious listening to Cameron. It reminds me of the scene in Joker when he's in the crowd listening to people laugh. Cameron does this thing when sometimes if he's not paying 100% attention, if he's on his phone, he'll like do this like, huh, and he just does like really quiet like laugh. He'll hear people laugh, and so he'll mimic them. And so I just kept thinking of Cameron like imitating like people's laughter like in the Joker. It was really funny.
That's actually hilarious.
Cameron, we need to get you that card that says, if I'm laughing, it's only because I'm not paying attention to you or something like that. You know? The lady on the bus. I'm sorry, I'm making you feel really uncomfortable, but I'm not paying attention to you, that's all. I'm not really laughing because you're not funny.
I have a condition.
And speaking of Mahomes, we have a single email from our fan.
No way.
What?
We got an email?
Yeah, it says.
Wait, sorry. No, guys, let's not act surprised. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Of course someone wrote in because we have so many things to talk about.
And so many fans.
Okay, who wrote in?
Well, it's from Mom. It just says, "You're fulfilling your dreams. I love you, boys."
Where set it up like that, Jordan?
I hate you.
Oh my gosh.
I thought we were getting an email from someone, a fan that's other than you. Mom!
Oh, that's
Stop
hilarious.
embarrassing me.
I thought it was gonna be like one dude saying respect from Parasite. I thought that's what the email was gonna be. Respect.
Respect. Yeah, we're just going to keep shouting out to our only fan. Until we get more fans, we'll just keep shouting you out. Push it on your friends, you know? Be that pushy neighbor that pushes podcasts on people,
No,
everybody.
don't do that.
Yeah,
Please.
become a rabid fan base, you know? Just force people to listen, even if they don't like movies.
Have more people hate us.
Yes. Yeah, if you have problems with us, definitely share it with your friends and come after us. No, that is the last thing we need. Jordan, where can people email us at?
futuremovies@gmail.com.
Unless you're our mother, do not email us.
Get off the email list. Gosh darn it, Mom. You're the best. I love you too. Listeners, next week we are reviewing a very special movie. What is it?
Bad movie night. Oh.
The Room.
Directed by Tommy Wiseau.
It has been called the Citizen Kane of bad movies. Not to be confused by Room, starring Brie Larson, that literally got nominated for Best Picture. This is the worst picture of all time. Room, everybody.
The Room.
The Room.
Very different.
If you see it starring an alien, you'll know it's the right movie.
And you can't watch this movie anywhere. You have to actually buy it from his website.
That is a thrifty businessman if I ever knew one. Holy cow. Tune in for next week, The Room. And you guys stay safe out there. Take care now. Cameron, Jordan, signing off. Futro Hidden Movie Gems, signing off. Later.
Peace.
Bye.
Heil Hitler.
How do you do?
Hiya.